全力毫无兴趣，就为了跟我赌一口气。这绝对。
Tell me what you're seeing here. I see some black areas and some white areas. So tell me what part of the heart this is.
So we start with the pumping chamber of the heart, the left ventricle. So this is the pumping chamber, and the ventricle is normal in size. It's the heart muscle has normal thickness. The pumping function of the heart is normal. Then this is the mitral valve, where it allows blood flow into the left ventricle. This is the aortic valve, where the blood flow ejects from the heart into the aorta.
Now, can you tell if that aortic valve is leaking by just looking at this?
We can. So we would see if this valve were thickened and narrowed, it did not open properly, that would be stenosis. And then we apply color across there to see if there's any leakage of blood flow, backflow. And he does not have either.
Now, could you just walk down and do this in the abdomen and the legs and everything else?
We can. We can do ultrasound of all the blood vessels. Believe it or not, even from within the brain, the neck, the heart, the kidneys, down the legs.
Now, Malcolm, this is a very expensive machine right here. What are the chances examining regular?
Well, now. So and then there's the very same images as an expensive unit that we have in the hospital.
So in the examining room, I could run this over my heart, and I could look at the valves on the smartphone.
That's right. So compared to a stethoscope, for example, we get much more information, a much more detailed look at the heart with a hand down.
Exciting for me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bob.
We're here with Malcolm Foster in the echo.
This is where the apical four-chamber view cuts through the heart. So the probe is now down here, going through the apex. First structure it's going to encounter the apex of the heart. As its name describes, in this view, the imaging sector passes through all four cardiac chambers, the atria furthest away from the probe. So now we're going to move on to a completely different echo window. We're going to the apical window to get a series of apical views. So this means putting the probe in the apex beat with the notch angled towards the left shoulder. The trick is to get the view as well as you can, as far down the chest as possible, so you're not foreshortening. Just to move a tiny bit towards me, that's it. If you've got a cutout on your bed, it's really useful to get the angle of the probe here against the chest, so you can get a apical four-chamber view like this. And this is a diagram of the apical four-chamber view. As ever, our probe is positioned at the top of the screen. The structure we're going to image is the LV apex, in the cavity of the left ventricle. We have the right ventricle here, the right atrium, and the left atrium. This is the mitral valve. This is the tricuspid valve. In a normal heart, the left ventricular apex forms the apex of the heart. If the right ventricle becomes dilated, it can push it over. But this is a normal situation we're looking at here. We've got 3 of the 4 pulmonary veins coming into the left atrium, and then this circular structure outside of the heart, so it's outside of the pericardium, is the descending aorta. This is my apical four-chamber view. It's a really nice view of seeing all the chambers laid out side by side, so you can see their relative sizes. So you can see that the right ventricle is about 2/3 the size of the left ventricle. You can see that the atria are very similar sizes, and they're considerably smaller than the two ventricles. So if we move slightly to focus on the right ventricle, I'll just move my probe very slightly inwards really towards the spine. You can see how trabeculated. So all these ins and outs of the right ventricular free wall, and we can see there are sort of cords going across the cavity of the ventricle. One of these is probably the moderator band. So this is what a normal right ventricle looks like. Another thing I'll be checking whilst I'm on the right side is the relative positions of the 2 valves, so the tricuspid, which is here, and the mitral valve. We expect the tricuspid to be nearer the apex, near the heart's apex, than the mitral, which you can see here. It's only a small offset, and that's fine. It's usually sort of around 5 millimetres.